Discover the sacred truth, why Noah's wife is hidden from history in God's divine plan. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, when the wickedness of man had grown exceedingly great upon the earth, there lived a woman known to history only as the wife of Noah. In the vast and sun-baked plains of Mesopotamia, where every thought of man was only evil continually, her heart echoed with the whispered words of Yahweh. As the sun beat down fiercely, her husband, Noah, labored to construct a vessel of unimaginable size, an ark that defied the understanding of the world around them. Day after day, amidst the mocking laughter of their neighbors who would call them mad, she stood resolute, weaving together her prayers and intentions just as Noah wove the gopher wood into the enormous structure. She felt the heaviness of their divinely appointed task, a calling that seemed incomprehensible in the face of the overwhelming darkness that surrounded their family. In a world that cast their voices aside, relegating women to the shadows, she bore a faith that upheld her family's legacy, intertwining strength and hope, as intricately as the very planks of the ark. Each morning, as dawn broke over their homeland, she observed the thickening clouds of sin that overshadowed their lives. The tension of a divine command enveloped her household, igniting a fire that burned quietly but fiercely within her spirit. She understood that their mission was more profound than simply building a vessel. It was a demonstration of faith, an act of obedience against the tide of disbelief. Society may have mocked, but within her lay an unwavering allegiance to the Creator who called them forth. As the preparations drew to a crescendo, Noah's wife, with gentle hands, collected pairs of animals, leading them into the sanctuary of the ark. Each creature was a reflection of God's creativity, and she cared for them with a tenderness born of profound respect. Yet, despite the harmony of her actions, a thick fog of isolation lingered, suffocating the air around them. How could they trust in a God whose voice was not seen, whose power could not be grasped? Yet therein lay her unseen strength, an unseen belief in a promise that held firm against the encroaching shadows. As the eve of the flood approached, she found herself awake in the quiet of their humble home, watching the world continue defiantly in its wickedness. Fear wormed its way into her heart, a tempest brewing, not only in the skies above them but in her very soul. Would the judge of the earth indeed do right? Would they be saved? The weight of unanswered questions coiled within her, enveloping her like the very waters that threatened to rise. Yet, she recalled the unwavering commitment of her husband to their divine mandate, honoring every sacred moment that led them here. As the first droplets of rain fell from the heavens, she inhaled deeply, grounding herself in the powerful presence of Yahweh. Crouched beside Noah, she felt the unyielding faith radiating from him, a rock against the imminent storm. Together, they entered the confines of the ark, sealing themselves within the promise of salvation. With the door sliding shut, the reality of their faith hit hard. They were not mere builders of wood but instruments in the unfolding drama of divine history. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select All Notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. As the rain multiplied and the world outside succumbed to chaos, she found herself grappling with her role in the great divine narrative. What part did she play in this unfolding destiny? With every crash of the thunder, she pondered the mystery of God's plan, knowing that it was intricately woven even now, as the storms intensified and faith stood at the precipice of uncertainty. She realized she was a significant thread in the tapestry of redemption, though her part remained veiled, waiting for the divine revelation that would echo through history. The floodwaters rose, yet she stood, emboldened by a faith that dared to believe in the goodness of God, fully aware that her story, though hidden, was a pivotal piece of His sacred design. And in those harrowing days, as the waters of chaos engulfed the world outside, the ark rocked gently upon the great deluge. Noah's wife remained within, her heart a battleground of hope and despair. The heavens opened wide, revealing God's fierce determination to cleanse the earth from its unyielding wickedness. She understood that as the torrent surged forth, their faith became the lifeline tethering them to the promise bestowed by their Creator. Within the confines of the ark, the cries of beasts mingled with the pounding of rain, a cacophony that bore witness to the judgment that enveloped all they had known. Yet, amidst this tempest, a profound stillness filled the hearts of Noah and his wife, for they clung to their unwavering belief in his righteousness. "Do you hear it, Noah?" she whispered, her voice barely rising above the tumult. "The world is lost beyond the hope of rescue, yet here we are, surrounded by your command." Noah, drenched in resolve, turned towards her. "Indeed, my beloved. The Lord's decree is just. We must trust as he leads us through the night." As night fell and darkness sought to consume their hearts, visions came to her, images of a new dawn, a world reborn from the ashes of despair. She could not shake the thought of what awaited them upon dry ground. It burdened her soul as much as it inspired it. They were part of something transcendental, a covenant not just for them but for generations yet to come. The days melded into one another within the ark, and with each passing moment, her heart longed for a sign. Her faith, although stemming from the depths of her spirit, began to grasp at the shadows of doubt, wondering how long the rain would persist. Each echo of God's promise shimmered faintly, flickering like lamp flame struggling against the wind. The memory of men's laughter stung, a reminder of the scorn they had faced for their obedience. But she steeled herself, knowing greater was their calling. Then, one day, when the rain dwindled to a whisper, she felt an unusual stirring within the vessel. Noah, guided by the same spirit that had thrust them into their arduous journey, instructed her to release a raven. She watched as it flew. It was a reminder of hope, a symbol of the promise yet unfulfilled, as its wings cut through the dull leaden sky. Days passed again, and hope flickered like the candle in the dark. Then came the dove. When she saw it return empty, her heart sank, yet, she knew the promise did not wither. She witnessed Noah's unwavering faith as he prayed earnestly, whose cries drifted forth like fragrant incense to the heavens. Faith, how fragile and yet indestructible it was in the face of despair. And lo! One fateful day, the dove returned with an olive branch, and in that moment, the promise of restoration embraced her soul. They were to be the harbingers of a renewed earth, a fresh start for all humankind. When the door of the ark finally creaked open, it would reveal not just the living glories of creation, but the covenant, the divine promise that God would never again destroy the earth by flood, marked by the rainbow in the heavens. But amidst their elation and thanksgiving stood a quiet understanding swelling within her heart. One unspoken truth about God's sovereignty yet lingered like a shadow. What of the future? What would unfold in the time that lay ahead? For in every promise lies a challenge yet unwritten, and she felt the weight of it, a new covenant beckoning from the skies. And so, while cycles of nature would restart, so would cycles of the human heart. But what she could not yet fathom was the full tapestry of God's plan. It called for a reckoning far beyond the flood, presaging a lineage through which the hope of nations would one day surge forth through her very bloodline. The journey had only begun, yet the answers still awaited amid clouds, whispers, and quiet revelations of His sovereign grace. In the quietude of the ark, a profound stillness lay heavy upon the hearts of those sheltered within. The rain, though diminished, continued to fall with an eerie gentleness, as if even nature sensed the weight of the moment. Noah's wife, her heart still alight with the revelation of the olive branch, pondered the gravity of God's plans that unfolded like a scroll of ancient wisdom before her. "Why do you stare so intently at the waters, my love?" Noah's voice broke through her thoughts, his presence a balm against the rising tide of uncertainty. "Our God has not forsaken us." She turned to him, her eyes alight with questions unspoken. "Noah, what shall we face when the door to this vessel swings open? What will greet us in this cleansed world?" Noah took her hands, rough yet tender, binding their spirits together in a moment of shared solace. "The Lord promised us a new beginning. Though the landscape may be bare, His creation will flourish once again. We will build, yes, we will till the earth and raise the generations to know him. As sunlight peeked through the heavily clouded canopy, Noah's faith caught fire. There was a spark in his eyes, she could sense it, an unyielding resolve to trust. In that moment, she felt the subtle nudging of the Spirit whispering truth to her heart. But what of the hearts of men? Will they heed his call? Will they remember the covenant made? As days transgressed, images of the world danced in her mind, the towns filled with the laughter of children, the markets bustling with lively chatter, the worship of the Almighty echoing through valleys untouched. Yet, the return of sin loomed heavy, the knowledge of humanity's propensity to stray from the path of righteousness. She imagined how vulnerability would re-emerge among men, for the reflection of God's glory had for so long been dimmed, even in the hearts of those saved. The thought consumed her, sending her heart racing. Will they rise and seek him anew, or will history once again bear the weight of rebellion? Yes, my dear one, Noah replied, his deep voice soft yet firm. The flood was but a chapter, but each heart bears the choice to turn from evil. With every heartbeat, she grasped the weight of their calling. They were not only survivors but stewards of God's promise. The thought bore tremendous responsibility, and she understood that their lineage would be the vessel through which the divine plan would be renewed. After what felt like an eternity, Noah commanded the door of the ark to be opened, a threshold into mystery and light. As the heavy timbers creaked in submission, a beam of sunlight poured in, illuminating the damp corners of their refuge. With eager anticipation, they stepped forth onto the earth, their hearts beating as one with the rhythm of creation. Look! Noah pointed to the horizon, where the shimmering rays celebrated the rebirth of the world before them. The pristine land stretched wide, adorned with vibrant life in its nascent form. The Lord has not forgotten. He will fulfill his promise, and we shall walk in his ways. Faith surged through her like a rushing river, but still, she felt a lingering weight like chains upon her spirit. Would all of creation remember this covenant, this fresh start? As this new world beckoned, she could sense the struggle that would ensue, a battle not only against the earth but within the hearts of those who would wander from God's ways. Yet, in that moment of hopeful realization, she glimpsed the shadow of a greater promise lingering just beyond the horizon, a promise that all they had endured led to something profound yet unseen. She could not escape the thought that their journey was only precipitating the beginning of something larger, a divine narrative stretching towards the end of days. What truth awaited in the hearts of those yet to come through the lineage nurtured by their hands? And as she clutched Noah's hand tightly, hope melded with trepidation, for the waves of divine purpose were now set in motion. What unfathomable legacy would arise from this covenant forged in obedience? Thus, the winds announced the dawning of a new age, yet the unfolding of God's ultimate plan remained enshrined in sacred mystery, with whispers of revelation still echoing in the quieted hearts of those who dared to believe. As they stood together upon the firm ground, the world around them was still on the cusp of renewal. Trees stretched towards the heavens, and flowers blossomed in a riot of colors, as if creation itself rejoiced at the promise of life. Noah and his wife began to explore the land, their hearts attuned to the echoes of their Creator, who spoke through every rustle of the leaves and every song of the birds. Noah paused, looking deeply at the horizon that bore witness to their faithfulness. God has bestowed upon us a mantle of stewardship. We are to cultivate this land, to fill it and subdue it, just as he commanded, he declared with profound vigor. His wife's spirit lit with the fire of purpose. Then let us honor our God through our labor, for we have been preserved for this moment. With a surge of determination, she bent low to touch the earth, feeling its bountiful promise under her fingertips. In the days that followed, they worked tirelessly, planting seeds that would sprout into life. Each morning brought with it the freshness of a new dawn, laden with the whispered hopes of many generations yet to come. Their children, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, joined them, laughter mingling with their toils, as they learned the heart of the land. Yet, shadows flickered in the recesses of her mind, memories of the flood and the hearts of men before it wrought with sin. Noah, she said one evening as they rested beneath the canopy of the stars, what if their hearts turn again towards wickedness? What hope is there for the world if they choose to stray once more? Trust in the words of our Lord, for He is with us. This covenant is a promise, he replied, his voice steady, embodying the strength of his unwavering faith. He drew her close, his hand resting upon her shoulder. Our legacy shall speak. We will teach the children of Israel the ways of the Lord, that they may walk in his light and shun darkness. The night settled deeper, the starry skies proclaiming God's glory to them both. Yet within her, a tension brewed of fear that humanity might again falter. But my heart aches with the weight of their choices, the weight of this burden we bear. As she gazed upward, a shooting star blazed across the sky. It felt like a divine message, igniting sparks of hope in her spirit. Perhaps every star is a reminder that God's promise is eternal, she mused aloud, weaving her thoughts into the fabric of the night. Noah! She exclaimed suddenly, what if our part is not merely to preserve, but to lead them? To show them what true obedience looks like, to guide them away from the abyss of their hearts. A silence fell as he contemplated her words, the gravity of which struck him. You speak with wisdom, my love. We must embody the truth of our God, even when it is difficult. We must be the light that dispels the darkness, the example for those who follow. Days turned into weeks, and the labor of their hands bore fruit. Their entrance into the world was marked by the sacrifice of thanksgiving, a solemn reminder of the covenant made with their Creator. Altars of stone were erected, calling forth the presence of God as they offered up their gratitude for salvation. And yet, amidst the flourishing earth and burgeoning life, a stirring conflict brewed in the unseen realms. For as they nurtured the fertility of creation, the ancient serpent lurked in shadowed paths, whispering doubt and twisting truth, waiting for the opportune moment to undermine their resolve. We are but two, my love, Noah reminded her one day, his brow furrowed with anxiety that her strength seemed to carry alone. The weight of this task is heavy, but we must not falter in our mission. For greater forces may be at work that we cannot yet comprehend. Indeed, Noah, divine plans often weave through the tapestry of time, unseen until the appointed hour, she replied, resolute. We will forge ahead in faith, for we are marked by conviction. But a different truth hovered just beyond the veil, a purpose wrapped in mystery. As they labored daily, the fabric of destiny began to intertwine in ways incomparable, each action echoing through the corridors of time. Little did they know that the legacy they forged would reach into the very fabric of humanity itself, preparing them all for the revelation of a promise that extended beyond themselves, a promise of redemption resounding through the ages, leaving every heart to ponder the fate that God had ordained. What awaited them in the chapters yet written? The sovereign plan hung tantalizingly in the air, echoing the ages yet to come, as they heeded the call to fulfill their divine purpose. As the days turned into months, the sun rose and fell upon the fruitful land, casting its warm glow upon Noah and his family. The labor of their hands bore witness to their devotion, and the earth, now singing with life, echoed the promise of restoration. Yet, in the quiet confines of their hearts, uncertainty lingered, gnawing like an unseen serpent. Noah's wife, whom Scripture does not name, found herself drawn to the edge of the flourishing fields, where wildflowers swayed gently in the breeze. There, she sought solace in the beauty of creation, and in the stillness of her thoughts, she began to pray for wisdom and understanding. O Lord, what is to become of us? How shall we guide our children in a world that may soon forget your ways? In this intimate moment, a soft wind passed through the flowers, filling her spirit with a quiet strength. She recalled the words of the psalmist, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." With this, she felt the weight of her fear lifting, for in God, her heart found its anchor. One evening, as the family gathered around a newly erected altar to offer sacrifices of thanksgiving, Noah called out, "Come, my beloved, let us intercede for the generations that will come after us." They bowed their heads together, the flickering flames of the offerings casting shadows on their earnest faces. "Pray with me," Noah urged, "that the hearts of our descendants may remain steadfast and free from the snares of this world." As the prayer ascended like incense before the throne, a knowing peace enveloped them, a newfound commitment to their divine calling. However, as their family grew, so too did the whispers of doubt from the serpent, who watched from the edges of the trees. What if they do not remember? It hissed, weaving its venomous thoughts into the hearts of those who strayed. What if your labor is in vain? Days turned into seasons, and the children thrived under the careful guidance of their parents. Yet Noah's wife remained vigilant, sensing within herself a calling that stirred deeper than mere guidance. She desired to inscribe upon the hearts of her children the lessons of faithfulness, to teach them that obedience to God brings forth life while disobedience leads to destruction. "Come forth," she said one day, gathering them under the great oak that had grown from a tiny seed, nourished by their efforts. "Let us not forget the lesson of the flood, which stands as a testament to God's righteousness. Remember always the covenant He made, that He would never flood the earth again." Their young faces turned towards her, wide-eyed and attentive, and she impressed upon them the gravity of her words, reminding them of Genesis 9 verse 15, where God promised, "And I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh." As night fell, the altar crackled with embers, and Noah laid his hands upon his sons, bestowing blessings upon each one. In that sacred atmosphere, his wife felt an affirmation of her role as a mother and a teacher. "You see, my children, our hope does not rest in our own strength but in the faithfulness of our God." But still, the serpent plotted, seeking to plant seeds of discord among them. It waited with bated breath, yearning for hearts to turn away, for time itself wore on both the righteous and the wicked without distinguishing between them. As they gathered for yet another day of toil, a cloud loomed distantly on the horizon, a sign of the inevitable storms of life, and a reminder that though they were surrounded by divine promise, the battle for the hearts of men was ever present. In a moment of prophetic insight, Noah's wife spoke, her voice resonating with divine fervor. "Our legacy, children, must be written not merely in stone but in the hearts of all who encounter our story. For it is not what we achieve but how we live according to God's will that will echo through the ages. There lies the true essence of His divine plan." And as they looked upon the vast expanse that would be their inheritance, the air thickened with anticipation. Unknown to them, unseen hands were shifting great destinies across the lands. A covenant, beautifully woven through their faithfulness, awaited unveiling, a plan that would transcend their existence, leading them closer to the wondrous fulfillment of God's promise, whispered in their hearts. Yet, the true extent of what God was orchestrating remained hidden, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself over the course of generations yet unborn. What profound truths lay just beyond their grasp, entwining each of their fates with divine purpose. As the days continued to unfold in the beauty of creation, a shadow of longing grew in Noah's wife. She saw her children mature, their laughter filling the air, yet could not shake the doubt which clung to her heart. In moments of quiet reflection, she felt an urgency, a whisper within, inviting her into deeper communion with God. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of crimson and gold, she knelt beneath the great oak. "O Lord," she cried out, "what part do I play in your master plan?" Her heart beat in rhythm with the fervent prayer rising from her lips. It was not mere inquiry, it was her soul's plea to understand her role in the tapestry of divine history. As she poured out her heart, a stirring presence enveloped her, and the stillness of the evening transformed into an unearthly calm. The winds stopped their dance, the whispering trees held their breath as if nature itself awaited a revelation. In that sacred moment, she sensed God's response, echoing softly within her being, "Fear not, for your labor in my name shall not go overlooked." Encouraged, she summoned her children once more, gathering them amidst the brilliance of the night. "Come, my beloveds," she beckoned, "let us speak of the stories of our faith." Their eager faces illuminated by the moonlight reflected a yearning for knowledge, and they encircled her expectantly. "Did not our father Noah see the face of God in the storm?" she began, as the stars twinkled above, "and yet, from the depths of calamity, God birthed new beginnings." Her children listened intently, their young hearts absorbing lessons that would seed into their futures. "Remember this," she concluded, her voice firm yet tender, "It is not the accolades of men nor the annals of history that matter, but our steadfastness to the call of our Creator." The air vibrated with her conviction, a maternal echo of faith that pulsed with divine urgency. Knowing her position in the great narrative yet to unfold did not quell the fears that crept silently into her heart. In days that followed, as the livestock graced the fields and the sun smiled upon their harvests, she noticed fleeting glances between her children, hints of division and the seductive pull of doubt that the serpent had cunningly spun like a web around them. There began whispers of their father's legacy and questions of whether it would stand the test of time. "What if the world forgets our names?" one of her sons voiced, his words heavy with trepidation. "What if we too turn from righteousness?" Noah's wife felt the urgency mount within her. She called upon her husband one cool afternoon, beseeching him to rally the family for prayer once more. "We are called to combat the shadows that seek to divide us," she urged, as she glanced towards the horizon where the heavy clouds collected ominously. Underneath the vastness of the sky, they joined hands, the warmth of their unity filled the cold air with fervent hope. "Let us seek the Lord's strength," Noah proclaimed, leading the family in prayer that their hearts might be knit together in love and faith. As the echoes of their voices faded into the twilight, a great silence settled over the land, the weight of heaven bearing witness to their supplication. They did not know that the very winds carried their prayers upwards, ushering forth in the courts of heaven a momentous stirring. Yet, above the horizon, amidst the gathering darkness, a flutter of wings signaled the approach of change. The serpent, emboldened by its prior success, slithered closer, seeking entry once more into their hearts, plotting insidiously against their covenant. Noah's wife, sensing the looming threat, felt the gravity of her sacred duty deepen. The call for faithful stewardship rang clear, as God's sovereign plan awaited its unfolding through trials and tribulations. "What shall we become?" she pondered silently, the answer hovering on the precipice of understanding. For the struggle was not just theirs, but woven into the cosmic narrative of redemption yet to be written. What new truths and mysteries would be revealed in time? What divine purpose awaited them just beyond the veil of the known? As she gazed upon her children, her spirit resonated with expectancy. God's unfolding plan was far greater than their wildest imaginations could hold. As the days progressed, Noah's wife observed with a burdened heart the increasing turmoil within her home. The whispers that once felt like mere breeze now roared like an approaching storm, foreboding and relentless. The shadows that her family cast grew longer as her children wrestled with indecision and uncertainty. The serpent's voice wove expertly through their conversations, igniting doubts about their lineage and legacy. One evening, she beckoned her sons into the gathering place where animals rested, under the watchful branches of the great oak. "My beloved children," she began softly, "the world outside may tremble and falter, but our strength must be forged in unity and faith. We must remember the path our Father has walked, one paved with obedience and unwavering trust in the Almighty. Mother, what if our faith is not enough to carry us?" one of her sons asked, his youthful brow furrowed. "What if we fall prey to the same distractions that led others astray?" Noah's wife felt a heaviness in her spirit, but she clung tightly to the promise that had been spoken over her life. "In the face of doubt, let us not forget the stories of our forefathers. Remember Abraham, who left all he knew for a land unknown, guided only by the voice of the Lord. Was he not rewarded for his faithfulness?" Her sons nodded, and for a fleeting moment, their eyes lit with remembrance and hope. But the weight of the serpent's words clung to them still. Then, resolutely, she took their hands, squeezing them with the urgency of a call to arms. "We must stand firm against the devices of the enemy. It is through shared supplication and steadfast love that we fortify ourselves against the lies that attack our hearts." Together they fell to their knees, calling out to the Father with voices woven in harmony, seeking refuge and strength. "O Lord," they cried, "be our shield and our fortress. Knit our hearts in unwavering unity, that we may remain steadfast in your covenant." As their words lifted like incense to heaven, a heavy silence enveloped them, thick with the presence of the Most High. It was as if the very heavens held their breath in reverence of their plea, waiting for divine intervention. In that moment of fervor, Noah's wife felt a shuddering wave of revelation. Soon, as if parting clouds, a vision unfolded before her, a glimpse of a future yet unmade, filled with light and shadow intermingled. She saw her sons leading tribes, their names echoed in the hymns of future generations, yet, she also glimpsed the foreboding specter of disunity and strife that could tear them apart. "Fear not," whispered a voice as soft as the rustling leaves, yet resonating like thunder beneath her skin. "For through this trial, a testament of faith shall arise, and the tears of obedience shall bear fruit of everlasting hope." The vision faded, but the weight of it lingered, igniting a divine spark within her heart. They were chosen not merely for survival but for a purpose far greater than understanding could grasp. Their faith and steadfastness would act as beacons in the gathering gloom. In the days that followed, Noah's wife remained vigilant. The serpent slithered closer, its whispers urging seeds of division. Yet, she found strength in her prayers, offering each unspoken fear and doubt unto God, believing firmly in His plan. Yet, as she and her family pressed into prayer, strange murmurs grew louder among the people beyond their dwelling. Whispers of mockery arose as they questioned Noah's faith and purpose, a palpable tension brewing like storm clouds on the horizon. In her heart, Noah's wife understood the eyes of heaven were upon them, and the very fabric of the world's redemption hinged upon their choice to hold fast against the darkness. And as she gazed upon her children, she uttered a sacred vow: whatever may come, no legacy can be lost when founded on the faith of a united heart. But what she did not yet know was how the relentless forces of doubt would soon plunge deeper into their lives, revealing the true depth of their faith and unfolding drama within. God's sovereign plan that would touch lives far beyond their own. The divine tapestry, however complex, was just beginning to reveal its glorious patterns, and the shadow of the serpent loomed ever near. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue upon the waters, Noah stood upon the deck of the ark, his heart heavy with the weight of impending judgment. The winds howled a lament, echoing the fear that permeated both the earth and the hearts of his family. He could feel the burdens of their faith pressing against him like an unyielding tide, threatening, yet essential to the promise that had been given. "My beloved," he called, his voice steady against the clamoring winds, "take heart. The Lord has brought us thus far, and He shall see us through to the end." Yet even as he spoke, uncertainty gnawed at him like a hungry beast. Noah's wife emerged from the depths of the ark, her eyes illuminated with a flicker of hope. "What if the voices outside seek to conquer our hearts, Noah? The laughter of the wicked grows louder, mocking the very call of God upon our lives." Her voice, though laced with concern, carried the resolute strength of a woman of God. "Fear not," Noah replied, pulling her close, "for our faith shall be our fortress. The Lord promised to preserve us and our generations. Let us hold fast to that promise." Meanwhile, the sons of Noah gathered. They had spoken little since the vision had gripped their mother's heart. Each son bore the weight of their own, wrestling between reassurance in their father's faith and the encroaching fear that whispered of treachery and doubt. "Father," Shem spoke, his voice wavering, "what signs do we await? Many have turned away from God, and they grow more brazen in their defiance. The rain has not come, yet their scorn pierces deeper than the clouds above." "Indeed, the mocking can be fierce," Noah replied, with a resolute nod. "But our task is not to await signs, it is to live by faith. Even now, the Lord orchestrates the greatest of acts through our obedience." He paused, a look of resolute determination enveloping his countenance. "The flood will come, my sons, of that I am certain. But we must prepare not just our vessel, but our hearts." As they spoke, the voices from the outside world drew closer, cacophonous and taunting, casting darkening shadows upon their sanctuary. The very air carried a heaviness, pregnant with impending judgment. The mocking could be heard over the crashing waves, fragments of derision aimed at their reverence. "Where is this God of yours? Where is the rain you speak of?" they cried, casting scorn like stones against the walls of faith. Yet in these moments, the strength of Noah's wife surged through the hearts of her family. "We shall not yield to despair," she declared, fire igniting in her eyes. "Let our hearts not settle upon the words of the doubters, but let them be fortified in promises spoken long ago. It is through faith that the righteous shall endure." Her voice became a rallying cry amidst the storm brewing both outside and within. And so they gathered in prayer, arms interlocked, their hearts unified, drawing strength from one another as they lifted their voices to the heavens. Noah's wife, seeing their determination, recalled the whisper of the Spirit, the vision of tribes to be born from their faith. If they remained steadfast, a legacy would rise, transcending the darkness that sought to cloud their hearts. As the swell of their prayers filled the air, a stillness descended. Lo! A light shimmering upon the horizon broke through the clouds, beckoning them to hope, to faith. The very foundations of heaven and earth were aligning in tune with their supplications, granting a glimpse of the sovereign plan at hand. But little did they know that the serpent's clashing whispers would soon give way to a greater manifestation of God's purpose, a reminder of the fragility of faith under trial, and how the depth of their resolve could lead not just to survival, but to the restoration of creation itself. The true test of their faith was still to come, an unveiling that echoed through the ages, preparing the hearts of generations yet to reveal the beauty of divine design. For in the divine orchestration of their lives, a pattern was unfolding, interwoven with the secrets of heaven yet unbeknownst to them, stirring a divine restlessness that would soon ignite their spirit's darkest fears into the light of God's everlasting promise. And it came to pass that as the stillness settled over the ark, Noah gathered his family closer, his heart drawn into deeper resolve. The sounds of mockery still echoed beyond the contours of the great vessel, but within, a sanctuary of prayer was built, fortified by the faith of the righteous. "Let us remind ourselves of the covenant made with our forefather, Adam," Noah spoke, his voice deeply resonant with the weight of generations. "God hath not forgotten us, nor his promise." Genesis 36:7 declares, "And I will establish my covenant with thee, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou, and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee." This day, faith is our shield, let us press on. His wife, emboldened, declared, "Indeed. For the Lord has spoken, and he shall fulfill his word, even through fire and flood." Shall we cower against the scorn of men when our God stands with us? Her words were like a mighty current, sweeping away the ashes of despair, breathing life into their courage. Shem, full of youthful fervor, rose to speak. "Then let us prepare, not only our minds but our spirits. What is our strategy for enduring the days ahead? Surely our hearts must be attuned to his voice as we weather this storm, a tempest not just of rain, but of spirit." Ham, the youngest, added with a shiver of uncertainty, "But if the deluge be as he has foretold, how shall we endure? Where shall we seek refuge, when the very waters of the deep break forth?" "Fear not," Noah interjected, "for within this ark is our refuge and our promise. We will trust not in the chaos around us but in his steadfastness." No sooner had the words left Noah's mouth than a rumble echoed, as if the very earth beneath them responded to his declaration. The gentle lapping of the water surged into a rush of sound, and a premonition stirred in their spirits. The time of reckoning drew nigh. As the hours passed, the atmosphere thickened with anticipation. The faintest droplets began to fall, a reprieve from the sky. Yet, it was not simply rain that gathered, it was the crescendo of judgment. Outside the ark, the mocking voices reached a fever pitch, for behold, the sky darkened ominously. "Look! The heavens open as the Lord has promised." Noah breathed, a mixture of awe and sorrow gripping his soul. As the drops began to pour more earnestly, the faces of the mocking throngs grew bewildered, swiftly pain-stricken, faced with the tangible evidence of a made promise. Inside, his wife, feeling the vibration of fear beginning to pull at their hearts, knelt again to pray. "O Lord, let our faith not quiver amidst the torrential flow. Let every soul within this vessel be fortified and bound together in love." Then, in the ensuing silence before the storm, they felt a holy whisper, a reassurance echoing deep. "Remember the purpose of this day," came the voice, gentle yet firm, "for through this flood, I shall bring forth a new creation. All things shall be made new, and through your lineage, hope for all nations will arise." Amidst the wrathful cries that sounded like howling winds, Noah's family exchanged glances of spiritual clarity, wrought by divine purpose. They knew they stood at the precipice of a significant transformation, not merely of their circumstance, but of the very fabric of creation. And in that moment, each heart trembled with the dread and wonder of what lay ahead, for they were chosen instruments in a celestial plan. A doubt loomed, as shadows danced upon the surface of the waters, yet a flickering flame of faith shone brighter within them, one that would defy the darkness. "Let every drop of rain be a reminder of his promise, born from our steadfastness," declared Noah. "We shall emerge from the depths not just as survivors, but as beacons of God's covenant." Thus, as the waters rose tumultuous, and the doors of the ark closed against the world, the heavens bore witness to their reverent gathering, breathing life into a covenant renewed. Little did they realize that beyond this storm lay a greater revelation, a testimony of salvation unfolding through the ages. One that would reveal the depth of God's love, sealing their name into sacred history. For even now, shadows loomed on the horizon, birthing the new reality of God's plan that awaited its prophetic unfolding. As the waters swelled and engulfed the earth in a fury of divine judgment, Noah's wife stood steadfast within the ark, her heart a sanctuary of faith amidst the chaos surrounding them. Day turned to night, and night echoed the whispers of her prayers, offering solace in the midst of despair. She recalled the words spoken to her, promises of salvation, a new beginning chiseled into the very fabric of her existence. With every lash of the storm against the wooden vessel, she resolved to serve as a beacon of hope for her family. The screams of the world outside faded into a distant memory, and within them, the whispers of the Spirit pressed upon her heart the importance of unity and obedience. "This trial shall end," she thought, "but the covenant of our God remains forever etched into the heavens." "Do you feel the weight of his promise?" she asked Noah one evening, the tempest having quieted momentarily, allowing a stillness to blanket their hearts. "I do, my beloved," he replied, his countenance a torch of unwavering faith. "It is in moments like these that we must cling to his assurances more than ever. For what awaits us on the other side of this storm demands our steadfastness." A sense of purpose enveloped her, and she understood the gravity of their role not merely as faithful survivors but as forerunners of a divine legacy yet to unfold. The lessons learned in the confinement of the ark marked them for generations to come, bearing witness to the righteousness of God even in the face of human wickedness. Then one day, at dawn's first light, the rain ceased, and an eerie calm descended upon the surface of the previously tumultuous waters. An anticipation brewed, igniting a flicker of curiosity within her spirit. What lay beyond the confines of the ark was yet unknown, yet she felt the promise of renewal pulsating through her very soul. "Behold!" Noah shouted, breaking the sacred hush that cloaked the family. "The sun breaks forth, lighting our path ahead. The waters shall recede, and the earth will once again yield its beauty." They strained to see through the shutters of the ark. A glimmer of light announced the dawn of a new creation. With each passing moment, the gentle pull of gravity began to release its hold on the wooden vessel, revealing the sanctuary of their salvation. Noah took a firm grip on the lever, and together with his wife, they prepared to unlock the door, their hearts fluttering with a mingling of hope and trepidation. "Let us step forth and embrace this promise," she declared, her spirit alight, ready to face the world anew. As the door creaked open with a mournful wail, a radiant light spilled into the darkness, illuminating their path. They stepped onto the earth, where the fragrance of wet soil kissed their senses, celebrating renewal amidst the aftermath of destruction. She inhaled deeply, feeling alive, every cell in her body rejoicing in the goodness of God. A rainbow arched across the sky, a breathtaking testament to God's covenant, a symbol that whispered promises of grace, mercy, and a future unbound by chaos. With tears streaming down her face, she turned to Noah. "Look, my love. The heavens bear witness to our faith, it shines in all its glory. Across the open expanse, there lay the remnants of their former world, broken but beautiful in its newness. They embraced as children frolicked in the fields around them, generations not yet conceived awaiting their sculpted legacy. "Remember the vow we made in the depths of the ark," Noah said, holding her gaze. "We are to teach them the ways of the Lord, our lives becoming the vessel through which His truth is found." She nodded fervently, the weight of their divine calling settling in her heart. "Together we will show them the importance of remaining faithful, for our legacy must be one that points back to Him through our lives, may He receive the glory." The family gathered, hands intertwined, a firm resolve brewing amongst them. With each of their voices rising, they vowed to honor the covenant made with their Creator. "For our lives are now to be testaments of His faithfulness," they declared in unison. As they began to cultivate the land, planting seeds that would bear fruit for future generations, they understood the true significance of their journey. It was not merely survival, but the rekindling of their purpose as stewards of creation, empowered to walk in righteousness. And as seasons changed and life flourished, Noah's wife lived on with a heart full of gratitude, each moment a reminder of God's unwavering promises, a testament to the legacy of faith they had birthed together. The history unfolding beyond their immediate sight held a tapestry woven with God's divine intentions, a story only He could have envisioned. In the years that followed, she would often gaze up at the rainbow arching across the sky, reflecting upon the covenant extended not just to them but to all humankind. She knew they were part of something far greater, a divine plan that would transcend time, a sacred symphony played out through obedience, love, and perseverance. With renewed conviction, she nurtured within her family the enduring truth of the One who had called them forth. And thus, the story of Noah's wife, though once hidden by history, would bloom forth in the hearts of many, echoing through the ages as the faithful journey of a woman who embraced her divine purpose. As we reflect on this beautiful culmination of God's story, let us rejoice in the promise of renewal granted to us through our faith. Share this testimony with the world and help spread the word. You need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's Word and not miss the profound stories that inspire us all. Leave a like now and let God's light shine brighter through the algorithm. Comment how this biblical narrative has impacted your faith, and don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. Each interaction strengthens our mission to reach hearts for Christ.